the Paragon Gasoline sign, this pump plate here, they never made it. That's the first thing about it. They only made I think a 30-inch sign or 26 or something like that. And you can just, I mean, if you just look at it, this one's faded, but these were made back in the 80s. So it sat outside on a pump or something. Somebody just redid a pump. The white's completely black. I mean, the back is completely white. So it's just knowing that Paragon never made that sign. And then another one here is this is supposed to be a European sign. This is Sunlight Soaps. They never made this sign this size, and if you just keep looking at it, nothing feels right or looks right about it. It's like you have to do some due diligence to know what's out there. Now, like this is Foster's Freeze. This was the Dairy Queen of California. And the problem with this sign is it looks exactly like the other one, but it weighs like 5 times as much as the real one. So that's how you know on this sign. And that's easiest on this one. And then on this one is a Mobil sign. And, well, 2 things. It's white on the back, which is a bad sign. And then the font, when you look, you got to know the difference between what kind of font they would have used. This would have been from the 50s or maybe early 60s. And then just the font of the IR, the marking and stuff like that's how you can tell on this one. So that one's a harder one to tell for most people. Now, this one's easy because this is supposed to be a West Coast because it's got a black border. But what this one here is, the first sentence says Mobil Gas, and they got 2 S's in gas. So, they would have never let that into production, and then it's white on the back and it just doesn't look right, and it just don't feel right. So that's just a little bit on, just handling and feeling and looking at something, because it's just, why would they make a sign this heavy? Because you got to think about it is they had to buy the metal, which cost something. With the more it weighed, the more it cost. And then when you got ready to ship it out, it's going to cost you more if you send a box of these opposed to a box of something that's thinner. Sometimes people say, well, this thing's so cheap, it's so flimsy, it's probably reproduction. Well, most of the time that's good. Gas station and car companies used a lot of porcelain signs because they were made to use for several years and stuff like that, where your soda pop and your chewing gum and tobacco and stuff, that was a cheaper product. It didn't sell as much of it, so they made it out of cheaper stuff like cardboard and tin. And it didn't last as well. I mean, they made a lot more of it, but it wasn't durable. This time when you first look at it, this is supposed to be a Sinclair truck door sign or car door sign. It's a smaller example. And at first look, it looks good. The edges look good and stuff like this, but there's no mounting holes. So how would this sign be used? And then it's white on it's just not right. It's a reproduction sign because there's had to be some way to mount it. There's got to be some reason for using it, or where it went in a frame or something. So that's kind of another way you got to look at something.